Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it.
Hello, hello, hello. Well, let me say, this is going to be quite a different show. And it's going to, my guest, he has some ideas and thoughts that you may listen to and think, what? But anyway, everybody has their own thoughts, attitudes, and opinions, right or wrong, good or bad. In our case, this is going to be good stuff that we're going to be talking about, but it may be a little different from what you're used to. So I'm going to pull up my guest. Oh, before I do, let me play his video so that you can kind of get a feel for who Morry is. And let me pull that up and let me share that now.
Hi. My name is Morry Zelcovitch, and I'm the world's first and only brainwave entrainment engineer. I think it might be appropriate if I tell you a little bit about myself before I get into exactly what a brainwave entrainment engineer is. For the first 40 years of my life, I lived in a deep, dark abyss of depression. I used to wake up every morning. I would cross my fingers. I would draw the curtains, and I would look out my window and hope I would see mushroom clouds. Because if I saw mushroom clouds, it meant that I wouldn't have to live through another day. I remember thinking to myself that life was a disease for which there is no cure but death. And this was a thought that would repeat itself over and over and over again in my mind. I felt so alone and so in pain. I tried to end my life at least a half a dozen times, but as you can see, I'm still here. Obviously, more of me wanted to live than wanted to die. And when I made that realization, it occurred to me that I had to find a way to live. It felt to me that if I'm going to live, I have to understand why I am the way I am. As I progressed with my research into the various disciplines, I slowly began to gain an understanding of why I felt the way I felt. And I started to get an inkling as to what I might be able to do to stop it. To make myself able to smile, to make myself able to laugh, to make myself able to enjoy life. I saw it all around me. People laughing, people smiling, people enjoying each other, people in love. All I could feel was hate. All I could feel was despondency and depression. I didn't like life. I felt like it was a punishment. From that point on, I was on a mission. I studied everything under the sun. I studied medical papers. I went to libraries. I read books. I got every kind of understanding I could possibly get. And then I was ready. And I created this one recording. And it's funny because when the one recording was ready, I was afraid to use it. For the first couple of weeks, I was afraid, what if it didn't help? And then I got over that. And the second 2 weeks, I was afraid of it working. What would it do? I was afraid of the possible effects. Well, finally, I got up the courage to lay down and listen. I closed my eyes, I put on headphones, I hit play. And I was kind of disappointed at the end of it all because when I was listening, it seemed to take half an hour, and it was a half an hour recording. I seemed to hear everything I knew was there. I didn't really feel like anything happened. I had, as part of my symptoms, thousands of voices in my head all the time. Every waking moment, I had thousands of voices in my head. About 5 minutes after the recording was over, and as I'm beginning to feel badly that I'm at the end of my rope and my last chance failed, I started hearing the voices coming back. And why that is so amazing for me was that I had never been without the voices. I didn't even notice them missing until they started coming back. That showed me It's natural not to hear these voices all the time. It showed me that the recording was able to help me. From that point on, I have been designing full systems, multiple systems, and I continue to do so. I'm actually working on over 25 new techniques. I am loving life. I have gone from wanting to be dead to wanting to live forever. The benefits that you can attain with brainwave entrainment are as varied as the people that use it. You see, we're literally exercising the brain, and much like how we exercise our muscle tissues, just because we jog or lift weights doesn't mean that that's all we can do with those muscles once we've conditioned them. We can actually do anything those muscles use better and more efficiently. It's the same thing with your brain. Different people have different issues. They'll use brainwave entrainment and they'll be able to accomplish what it is they need. It's really that simple. Things like confidence, self-esteem, thinking ability, creativity, PTSD, depression, anxiety disorders, stress. Pretty much anything can be helped with brainwave entrainment, because the fact is we don't experience anything unless it passes through our brain first. And our brain then has to create neurochemistry that then translates into our experience. With brainwave entrainment, we retrain the brain to literally have a better life. I have testimonials from people from all walks of life and all four corners of the earth attesting to the efficacy of my systems. People are being helped in any way and every way, from memory to sleep to anxiety to even Alzheimer's disease. The Brazilian military did a study and uses my recordings to help train their military police. Even Dr. Dale Bredesen, author of the New York Times bestseller, The End of Alzheimer's, uses my recordings as part of his system Recode to help halt and even reverse the effects of Alzheimer's disease. I have doctors and clinicians all over North America who are prescribing my work to their patients for sleep disorders, anxiety, stress, PTSD, and more. With everything that's going on in the world, its time is now. It's inexpensive, it's easy to use, and it's able to reach literally anywhere and anyone on the planet.
Wow, beautiful. Beautifully said. Now let me tell you, I'm going to pull Morry up. And hello, Morry. How you doing?
I am absolutely amazing, Vera. Thank you so much for having me and for asking that nice question. Appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you for being here. And you shared much of your bio in your video, but I'm just going to share a little bit more, and then I'm going to give you the floor and let you kind of share some of your thoughts and beliefs or not beliefs, or however you want to say it. Okay, so anyway, from a young man, Morry Zelcovitch faced a myriad of challenges, including hearing multiple voices in his head and grappling with severe depression. His innate curiosity led him to explore the field of brainwave entrainment, particularly when he noticed that rhythmic sounds seem to alter his perception of time and improved his mental state. Dissatisfied with the limited efficacy of existing products, Morry sought the expertise of a leading authority in brainwave entrainment. This pivotal encounter equipped him with the invaluable insights that were previously elusive. Armed with this newfound knowledge, Morry successfully mitigated his own mental struggles, and now, as a distinguished brainwave entrainment engineer, he is committed to enhancing the lives of others, offering a safer and more effective alternative to habit-forming medications. His journey from adversity to expertise exemplifies his relentless pursuit of innovation, and his unwavering dedication to improve mental well-being. Well, Morry, I am just elated that you're here, and I'm going to give you the floor. And I want you to we've already shared some of your journey in the video and also in this bio, but I want you to talk a little bit about this brain entrainment, and just tell us more about Morry.
Well, you pretty much know everything there is to know right now without putting people to sleep. I think it's important that people understand what brainwave entrainment is, first of all. First thing I want to do is applaud Vera, because she said entrainment and not entertainment. I cannot tell you how many times I sit through intros and I go, because I'm being described as a brainwave entertainment engineer. So basically what I do is I work on a boat, and I'm like the cruise director, and I teach people how to dance and how to play shuffleboard and all these things. It's not easy to move from that into science, you see.
Right.
So basically what brainwave entrainment is it takes advantage of a natural feature, if you will, of your brain. And yes, you've been entrained before. Even if you've never used brainwave entrainment, even if you've never heard of me before, you've been entrained. And I'll prove it to you. How many of you have been, say, at a party, even sitting alone or with some friends listening to music? Hands up, because I can see you. Okay, so I'm going to assume everybody put their hands up, although I probably shouldn't assume anything, but I will anyway, because you don't know where I am and you can't take me over your knee and slap me. So I'm pretty safe here. The thing is, when you've listened to music, and I want you can put your hands up, you can do whatever you want to do, just think in your mind, how many times did you catch yourself tapping your toes or bopping your head back and forth to the music mindlessly? You're not trying to do it. It just happens. You see, I told you everyone was like that. So that's my point. That is a form of entrainment where one stimulus, let's say the music beating like this, bon, 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 and this is your brain cell, and they start matching each other. That's what entrainment is. So brainwave entrainment is the act of me providing you with a stimulus. That stimulus is designed to make your neuron, which is a brain cell, react in a certain way. Now, neurons pulse electric beats. Doesn't mean they pulse like a heart, but they pulse an electric frequency, like electricity might travel through a wire, as an example. And what happens is you have billions of these neurons in your brain. And depending on the region of the brain and how many times they pulse per second, that dictates the kind of chemistry that they're going to release, things like endorphins and hormones and neurotransmitters. Why is that important? Well, that's important because two reasons. One, everything you perceive is the result of chemistry. So someone could literally slap me in the face. My head could fly off to the side and fly back. If my brain doesn't acknowledge that that happened and doesn't create chemistry to allow me to be aware that it happened, even though my field of vision is changing, even though my head is rotating, even though I had something contact my face, I would not be aware that it happened. When you love, when you hate, when you're excited, when you're bored, when you're, anything at all, none of that gets experienced without it first being processed by your brain. Your brain then creates neural activity, brainwave states. Those brainwave states then turn into or create chemistry, and it's the chemistry that is actually your response. How you feel, how you act. Am I afraid? Am I excited? Am I bored? Am I this? Am I that? All of that is due to chemistry. Now, most of us have heard of things like alpha, data. Yeah, Data's the computer guy on Star Trek. Alpha, delta, beta, theta, gamma. These are brain states, and we all know them to be brain states. But how many of you know what that actually means? You see? Nobody.
Tell us.
I have this ability to see out into the ether. So I can tell if they're putting up their hand, if they're going, what are you talking about? I can see all of it. And it's all because my brain is tuned to the universe. Why is it tuned? Because I use brainwave entrainment. So the reason why it's gamma or delta or whatever is because those are just ranges of how many times that neuron I was telling you about is pulsing an electric beat per second. That's it. So if it's 10 times a second, that would be in the alpha range. If it's 24 times a second, beta. If it's 3, delta. If it's 5, theta. If it's like 35, gamma. All of these brainwave states in different regions of the brain react differently, create different end results. When we're depressed, when we're sad, when we're angry, when we're pissed off, all of these things are the result of chemistry. That's it. We are literally biochemical automatons. That's what we used to call it back when I was a kid, back in the day of dinosaurs and stuff. So, but what it really is in the age of robots, instead of steel and wire and electricity, we're actually sinews and tissues and veins and electricity. So there's our common ground between a robot and ourselves. We both have electricity. The difference is our electricity doesn't go away. It just changes. Electricity, otherwise, you have to plug in. Oh, I'm sorry. It looks like you have something you'd like to interject. Please feel free.
Okay, I wanted to, because you were talking about these connectors, and you also earlier when we were talking before the show started, you mentioned that your depression and all of the things that were happening to you and the hearing of the voices, it had to do with the chemical.
I believe so, yes.
Okay, a chemical imbalance. And so your method has turned that all around. And I know you want to get back to what you were saying, but
no, it's fine. I'm good.
Okay. These methods that you're using in your video, you talked about how they help with Alzheimer's and
Yeah. Well, how it can help with Alzheimer's. Keep in mind that I am just espousing current research that's been released, and the fact that an Alzheimer's specialist who wrote a best-selling book on the New York Times list is using my work as a possible adjunct to what he's doing to help people with Alzheimer's. For instance, there's something called beta amyloid protein in Alzheimer's disease. And there's different arguments. Is that the cause of Alzheimer's? Is it a symptom? Is it this? Is it that? The bottom line is it's kind of like stand in a shallow end of a pool with no water, nothing in it. And I go, Vera, time for dinner. And Vera goes, ooh, yummy, Morry's cooking. Because Vera doesn't know any better that I can't cook. But she thinks I can cook, so she goes, oh, yummy. So she starts walking, right, to the stairs and gets out. No problem. Now you're in a pool in the shallow end, and there's water in the pool. Now try walking out. Well, you're feeling quite a bit of resistance. Now imagine instead of water, I fill the pool with, let's say, molasses or honey. Now try walking through it. It's even harder to move through it. This is a symbolic way of describing what happens to the neural activity, to these little electronic messages and carriers and messengers that are trying to go from neuron to neuron to neuron to neuron to create coherent thoughts, to access memories, all kinds of stuff. That's a kind of it's not exactly what happens, but it's a nice way of explaining it so anyone can understand. And Einstein once said that if you can't explain something in a simple way, you actually don't understand it.
Right.
For me, I need to understand it that way because I can't understand it the complicated way.
Right. And so I want to kind of talk about how your method also, you just explained how it impacts Alzheimer's, but some of these other conditions, depression, and also you talked about hearing multiple voices in your head.
Thousands of voices, yes.
And when you started using this method, those voices went away and you didn't recognize that it was abnormal to have the voices until after you didn't have the voices.
That's right. Yeah, because I felt normal. Now I want to just point out to everyone out there who's going to be checking this out, helps with has helped with. I have testimonials. There's research on there. But I do not make any medical claims regarding Alzheimer's disease, regarding depression, anxiety, any of that. I can tell you what I've experienced. I can tell you what my clients have experienced from the testimonials. But ultimately, it's up to you to try it yourself. People ask me, Morry, will this help for this? Will this help for that? And I said, that's a really good question. I offer a 60-day guarantee. You tell me. Because that's all that matters. Tylenol is sold with the right to say good for muscle aches, good for headaches. But lots of people take Tylenol. It doesn't make them feel any better. So ultimately, your experience matters more than what I say, than what, the quote unquote research says. The bottom line is brainwave entrainment is not invasive, totally natural. So if it works for you, beautiful. If for some reason it doesn't work for you, the odds of you hurting yourself are next to nothing, because it's non-invasive. It's vibration, it's sound primarily. I do have some visual aspects, but it's like listening. I mean, it's not like listening to music because it doesn't sound like music, but in the way of speaking that it's a vibrational process, because that's all sound is, it's vibration. Blow your mind a little bit. You're not hearing me now. You're not. You've never actually heard anything. Vera's beautiful laugh there, you didn't hear that either.
Okay.
Your computer created vibration. That vibration gets picked up by structures in your head and your ears, and that gets interpreted by your brain as what we call sound.
And we had a very deep conversation before we came on the air, and you may not understand what he's saying or where he's coming from, but it's amazing. And it's also very interesting that your perception, and I want you to talk about, you to talk
Sure.
about that. Talk about perception.
Okay. So again, I understand everything in very simple terms because I don't understand it if it's complicated. So when I was studying quantum physics because quantum physics to me has a lot to do with perception and how we process information in the brain and in the mind. So that's why I decided to study quantum physics. When I was studying it, to distill it right down to the way I understand it, legitimate scientists may poo-poo me here, but from my perspective, quantum physics, one of the rules or one of the things it says is that nothing exists until it is observed. So if I agree with that, and frankly I do, it makes perfect sense, at least for me it doesn't, then that means that the me that existed before, the one that would listen to you or to Vera and couldn't wait for you guys to stop talking so I could convince you of the error of your thinking and the error of your ways, right, was totally wrong. Because if, in fact, nothing exists until it's observed, that means every observation is real. Meaning, if you and I are observing the same event, or the same object for that matter, and you describe it one way and I describe it another way, you're right and I'm not wrong. We cannot help but both be right. It's almost like multiple dimensions. You're seeing one dimension, I'm seeing a different dimension. COVID made it very popular for everybody to talk about living in a bubble. The thing about a bubble is I look out of my bubble, and because I see Vera, I just naturally assume, I don't know how natural it is or how smart it is, but I naturally assume that Vera and I are coexisting in the same universe. But I don't believe that to be true anymore. My understanding now says that what's happening is, as long as Vera and I are within the same realm of existence, in other words, our universes are close and close and close, when we start talking, now our universes are touching. So there's a certain connectivity between her universe and my universe. But that doesn't change that we're still in our own separate universes. Words don't mean the same to me as they do to you. Literal words. I can agree with you. You can say something and I go, oh yeah, I couldn't agree with you more. And yet we both, if we were to define what we mean by those words, we might totally be polar opposite to each other. It's a completely different thing. I believe much of the world's problems, much of the political problems, the religious problems, all these problems aren't due to belief issues. They're due to people not giving people the right to have their universe, to exist in their own universe.
Let's talk about existing in your own universe, yet it appears that we are within the same parameters
That's a
of
mistake we're all making.
okay.
Well, I don't make that mistake anymore.
Okay, now people listening to this may think, what is he talking about? So please try to help the
Okay,
audience understand what you mean by that,
sure.
because in looking at us, we seem to be within the same universe. Now, is there a definition?
Yeah, I'm
Or,
crazy. That's the definition right there. So here's the thing, okay? I can walk down a street with any of you and we can have a nice conversation. I love using the Champs-Élysées as an example because for some reason I love saying that word, in Paris, right? The main street, Champs-Élysées. Let's walk down the Champs-Élysées. Hey, everybody, let's go to the Champs-Élysées. Hey, there's a cafe on the Champs-Élysées. So let's say we both go walking there for an hour and we have nice discussion. Beautiful spring day, birds are out, flowers are blooming, people are at cafes, they're smiling, they're having a great time. So we're walking for an hour, we have a nice conversation. Then someone sits us both down in separate rooms and asks us the same questions about our 1 hour together. They will likely think we were in two different universes. You're likely to notice things I didn't notice. You're likely to pay attention to things I didn't pay attention to. Maybe you saw a cute guy. Maybe I saw a cute girl. Maybe I saw a cute bird. Don't think worse of me because I think a bird's cute. But, all of these things are what I notice because who I am, how I was brought up, the universe I live in. I noticed different aspects. Some of these things that I noticed or you noticed, I may not have even paid attention to. Really? That was there? I had no idea. I didn't see that store. We're literally in different universes. Look at it this way. Law of attraction, another bugaboo I have, okay?
okay.
People make laws. Nature doesn't make laws. Nature is nature, at least in my universe. Nature is nature. So, law of attraction. I buy a car. Okay. A couple of years ago, I got a brand new car. It's got this really cool paint job on it. It's almost like a creamy gray. So it's really unusual. I got the car. All of a sudden, I'm seeing 50 million cars, same model, same make, same color. Didn't see them before. So what happened? Well, obviously what happened was everyone saw me driving it and said, oh, Morry's fantastic. I want to be just like him. So I'm going to go and buy this car and I'm even going to get the same color. You can tell I'm kidding, right?
Right. Right. I can tell you're kidding.
Right. So my point is, I just happen to be focused on these things now because I have the car. It's the same color. Now, on some form of a level, I'm more aware of it, so I pay attention and suddenly I'm seeing it. That's what the law of attraction is. The law of attraction doesn't actually exist. It's just that when you choose to look for something, isn't that funny? You see it. And when you choose to look at something that you deem good or define as good, you are more likely to see something that's good. If you're looking for something that you deem bad, then you're more likely to see something that's bad. It's not a matter of attracting something to you. It's a matter of what you become aware of, period. That's it.
And
It's not
awareness precedes
attracting.
change,
I'm
correct?
sorry?
I said an awareness precedes a change. And
Sure.
and so you became your awareness, and it's an acute awareness of everything, your mind, your thoughts. What would you say to people who are battling some form of mental health, some form of maybe depression, anxiety, the voices in one's head? What would you say to them? And yeah, what would you say to them?
Okay, so keeping in mind, I'm not a coach, I'm not a doctor, I don't even play one on television. So I don't really say much to people because that's not my job. However, what I would say, because I don't say no if someone wants to talk. So I would say, look, pain, discomfort. What if you looked at it and instead of crying about it, instead of thinking how unlucky you are, and this is coming from my own experience, by the way, because this is a shift that I had to make myself, actually, from 40 years of being depressed. So what if that's really a red light on the dashboard of your life? What if the pain, the anger, the discontent, the fear, what if all of that was nothing more than an alarm? In other words, something to actually be grateful for, as long as I recognize it for what it truly is, as opposed to thinking of it as something bad and evil and I'm a horrible person and that's why I'm suffering. 40 years, I thought I'm a horrible person and that's why I'm suffering. Then I started using these recordings I'm developing and I started seeing things differently. Instead of reacting to something bad like this, I reacted like this. What lesson is it trying to teach me that I'm not getting? You know, when I was about 6 years old, 7 years old, something like that, I played hooky from school. I know that surprises all of you because you all look at me as a very prim and proper and normal person. Yeah, right. Okay. So here's what happened though. So I play hooky, but I'm
At
bored.
6 years old?
About 6 years old, yeah.
Wow.
So I'm playing hooky and yeah, I was a real crapper.
Where did you go? What did you do? I mean, I know that's not the part of the
That's
story.
another conversation.
Okay, okay.
So what happened was I went up to my mom and she's in the kitchen and she's on the phone to my aunt, you know, back in the old days with those little pig wire phones, right? And she's got it up against her shoulder and she's stirring like 3 pots on the stove. And mommy, play with me. I'm bored. Play with me. And she says, very gentle voice, honey, I'm busy now. I'm making you lunch and dinner for everybody later. I'm talking with your aunt. You're not well. Go sit in front of the TV, drink your water, lie down, cuddle up with the blanket, and rest. So she went back to what she was doing. I, of course, I'm not following those rules. So I happened to look at the stove. Now, back in those days, the heating elements were like this. There were spirals and they were elevated. They weren't under glass.
Right.
So I'm looking at this thing and I'm totally enthralled because it's like a lava lamp, right? It's slowly changing color. It's reds and oranges and yellows and blues. And I'm just getting right into it like it's a major acid trip. I'm 5 years old, 6 years old, right? I feel like I'm on acid. So I'm watching this. And then I thought, you know, it'd be cool if I reached out and touched it. So I started reaching out to touch it. And my mom saw me reaching out for this hot element, right? And she said, honey, don't do that. You'll burn yourself.
And
Nice,
she
soft
said it
voice.
in a calm,
Yeah,
nice, soft.
calm, beautiful, you know, nice, gentle, loving voice. I won't go through the whole thing because we don't have 3 days, but it went 6 or 7 rounds, okay, like a Muhammad Ali fight. And I kept getting closer and closer and closer. And every time she caught me, because she did, except for the last time, of course, I gave away the ending to this story. But what happened was she would get louder and louder and angrier because I was not listening. I was not paying attention. The last time she didn't catch me, but the time before that, she caught me and she slapped my hand and yelled, don't do that. You're going to get burned. I'm no smarter today than I was then. I reached in for it last time. And this time, nah. I touched the element. I had rings on my hands for weeks. They were excruciating. I can still feel it now, okay? I couldn't even bend my hand because if I bent my fingers or thumb, it would stretch the skin and it would be like, ah. So I couldn't deal with it. It was terrible. But I used that as kind of like a parable for someone in your situation that you had mentioned. So look at it this way. This pain, this agony, the precious feeling, all of these things are nothing more than you your God, your universe, your parents trying to say something to help you, and you're not listening. Start listening. Start looking for the possible lesson behind all of this. Why? Ask the question, why? Why do I feel like this? What's going on? If I can't answer that question after a short while, then I ask other people to help me answer that question. I'll go to a doctor. I'll go to a psychiatrist. I'll go to a psychologist. I'll go to a coach. I'll go to whoever I need to go to. I'll try valerian, different, supplements or whatever that might be helpful. As long as I keep searching, I will eventually find what's happening. And nothing happens without a reason. Look at me, 40 years of wanting to be dead, and look at me now.
Look at you.
I'm on Vera's show. Would I be on Vera's show if I was working in a bank with a shirt and tie? Look at my nice shirt I'm wearing. Isn't that a beautiful shirt? I'm obviously a fashion plate. All the women out there want me. I know it for sure, because I am just so. They look at me and they go, "This is a guy I don't have to dress when we go out." Like my wife, who says we're not going out. That's it.
Wow.
But that's what I would say. I would say try to understand that the way you feel is not something to be angry about, not something to think is a punishment. It's actually a form of love that's trying to get you to learn something that for whatever reason you have chosen not to interpret as a lesson. When I interpret something as bad, I interpret something as a lesson. Right?
I love that. I love that. And that's such a great, wise suggestion. Whatever you're feeling, whatever it is, ask yourself, why am I feeling this way? What's happening that's causing me to feel this way? And what can I do to correct it? And if I cannot do anything to correct it, then I need to get some help.
Yeah. And can I share a little exercise that I also give to people who have these kinds of issues?
Yeah,
it's actually pretty easy. So I tell people to do this. Look, I have yet to have anyone who does this, by the way, and tell me it doesn't work.
Okay. Is this something that we could actually do right now?
Well, not right now, but you can start doing it right now. Yeah, you can start doing it right now. So here's the thing. During the day, I want everybody to be on the lookout for 10 things that they can be grateful for. Even if you're depressed, you'll see a cute little baby in a carriage. You'll see a leaf wafting to the ground. You'll see a rose. You'll see a bumblebee, bzz, pollinating a flower. Anything at all. It doesn't have to be earth-shattering. It can be the silliest thing in the world. A cat playing with a ball of wool. Whatever. Makes no difference. As long as it's something that you can be a little grateful for. Now, don't write it down, because if you write it down, you may find 10 things before 9:30 in the morning, and then you stop looking. You're going to have to remember when you go to sleep, you're going to have to remember 10 things you're grateful for, and they have to happen that day. It can duplicate. The next day, it can be the same thing. Maybe you like someone who sits beside you on the train to work every day, and every day you see them, so you can be grateful for them every day. That's fine, but it has to happen that day. When you go to sleep at night, I want you to have a pad of paper. It's better with paper than a tablet, but paper and a pencil or a pen. And on this paper, I want you to write down those 10 points in point form. Don't give yourself carpal tunnel syndrome, okay? But these 10 things, write them down, each one 3 times. Okay? Then you go to sleep. You lie down, you close your eyes, you go to sleep. In the morning when you wake up, the first thing you do after, nature tells you to do whatever you got to do, is you write down these 10 things again, also 3 times each. And you rinse and repeat. During the day, you look for 10 things again that are happening and that actually happened that day. So this goes on for a while. Here's how it works. When we write something down, we actually form neural pathways in our brain. We create complexity in our brain. We give our brain more options to choose a way to think, a way to go. So we're literally rewiring our brain for positivity just by writing down these things the way I described you to do it, 10 things, 3 times each. And you're rewiring your brain. When you go to sleep at night, the last thing you're concentrating on are these wonderful things that made you feel better. In the morning, the first thing to start your day, again, you write down the same things. Again, it doesn't have to be neat. It can be all over the place, angles, whatever. You start your day with the same kind of beneficial thoughts. Plus, you're training yourself. The more you do it, the more you will be looking for good things every day.
Regardless of what may be going
Regardless
on
of what's
around
going on
you.
in your life. Exactly.
I
So it's
love
training
it.
you how to look for good things. It's helping you to get better sleep because the last things you're really concentrating on before you go to bed are these wonderful events. And once a week, you take that page. So if that page is full, and then you do the other side and it's full, you start a new page. But you have a folder and you save all the pages. And once a week, you don't have to read what's on the pages, but once a week for a couple of seconds, I want you to leaf through it. Just look at the page, look at the page, look at the page, look at the page. I have 500 pages.
How long have you been doing this?
Oh, a while. But I write on top of things, and I write on angles, and I write curved, and I do all kinds of weird stuff because it doesn't matter. What matters is just doing it.
That's beautiful.
And then I look at it all, and it starts to really cement itself into your psyche that you're doing all this work, and it really hits home that look at all this, look at all these pages of beautiful things, despite the fact that I'm depressed. And it starts subtly shifting the mood. And it starts subtly shifting how we think and what we look for. Because again, law of attraction is bogus in my current understanding. It is a matter of what you choose to look at. This exercise gets you choosing to look for the good.
Yes, that's beautiful. And you know, I have several commercials that I need to play. So what I'm going to do, I'm just going to run them all at one time. And that way we can come back and finish our conversations.
Wonderful.
Hallelujah.
Hey there, Jason McNamara here, and I'm about to drop something truly game-changing your way. Are you tired of the same old 9-to-5 grind, feeling stuck in obtaining the life you deserve and craving something more? Well, listen up, because I've got something you will not want to miss. Introducing the No More 9-to-5 Club Professional Membership, your ticket to freedom and success in the entrepreneurial world. With our professional membership, you'll get access to weekly coaching sessions, pre-recorded trainings, and a vibrant community of fellow game changers. You get access to technology that will allow you to automate passive income streams, as well as unlock all of our expert-led trainings in the back office so you know where to go for good advice when you need it. You will also use the club to build up a residual income stream with a 2-tier 33% affiliate commission unlocked at this level, allowing you to help people help themselves while generating a residual passive income stream for yourself. And here's the kicker. For a limited time, you can unlock all of this just for a $1.11 donation to our club foundation.
I like this one.
Your first month is on us. So what's holding you back? Click the link below, make your donation, and let's start building the life and business of your dreams together. Here at the No More 9-to-5 Club, we're all about turning dreams into reality and smashing through those glass ceilings.
That's what I'm talking about, Jake.
Whether you're a seasoned entrepreneur or just starting out, we've got the tools and support you need to thrive and evolve. And don't forget to sign up for our bootcamp training. It's the perfect way to kickstart your journey and unlock even more perks. So what are you waiting for? Join the No More 9-to-5 Club today and let's make those dreams a reality. I can't wait to see you on the inside. You only get one now. Invest it in your better future. Let's make magic happen together.
Mama Knows creates high-quality products that are available to be used on multiple textures of hair. Her goal is to bridge the gap to stop people from having to use multiple products because of families with multiple hair types. Her products are currently being used on men, women, children of all ethnicities. Mama Knows products are available at www.mamaknowsproducts.com. That's www.mamaknowsproducts.com. You can also find her on Instagram at Mama Knows Products, because you know, Mama knows what you need.
Ah, you amazing souls. I see that you have a lot of questions, and I understand. And all this is about the upcoming mental health conference right here in New York City on the 24th and 25th of April. I understand more than anyone else, attending an in-person conference is very overwhelming. And you may have a lot of concerns about the audience and selling your products and the value of your talk. However, I want to assure you that as a speaker, your voice and experiences have immense value. Your journey, struggles, and the person you have become are incredibly powerful, and by sharing your story on stage, you're offering something unique and impactful. Remember that you are not just selling a product or service, but rather sharing a part of yourself that can inspire and make a difference in the lives of those who listen. As for attendees, please believe in the influence you have cultivated through your followers. New York City is a vibrant hub of energy, and I have no doubt that many of your amazing followers will be eager to hear you speak and meet you in person, as well as experience the incredible energy you have to share. Your presence alone will be a magnet for those who resonate with your message. You see, I speak from experience when I say that this conference is an opportunity for you to make a significant impact. Your trauma talk is a vision that has been brewing for a while. Now it is a reality. See that? I want to encourage you now to click that link and help me to make a difference right now. All you need to do is take the first step and invest in yourself and register, and Ra will meet you in person in New York City, where we can connect and share more powerful energy. This is Ra, and I love you all.
And also, before we continue, this is International Women's Month. And tomorrow is the actual day. And there is a summit. It's called Voices of Women Virtual Summit. And you can still be a speaker if you want to, or you can register to be an attendee. And with this being International Women's Month, I want to honor my mother, who was the first African American woman to have her own radio show in Canton, Ohio. It is because of her that I'm able to do what I do. When she got sick, she taught me the ropes, and I honor her. Her name is Murtis Cole. She is my mother. She was my rock, and I honor her during this International Women's Month. All right, so now back to, I do want to say something about these commercials I played back to back. No More 9 to 5. It is an awesome, awesome mastermind group with like minds. And Morry, you're a part of that group as well. And it's for learning, networking, and supporting each other in our endeavors. And though it's called No More 9 to 5s, there are people that have jobs that are a part of this group. But being a part of this group, they also recognize their purpose, their talents, and their abilities, and look at ways to either incorporate that and possibly get away from their 9 to 5, or include it in what it is that they're doing in their lives. Morry, you want to say any more about No More 9 to 5 before I move on to the next?
Just that, if you saw Jason, that was Jason, the guy who runs the show there. He wasn't putting on a show. That's him. So don't think he was putting on some energy or some flow just for you. This is who he is.
It is.
And he's very successful himself, and he loves the idea of, helping others to help themselves to live a better life and their real life.
Yes, and I put the link in the chat. As a matter of fact, there's a meeting tonight. We'll be late for, but the link is in the chat. If you want to check it out and see what it's all about, then click on the chat and find out more. And then Mama Knows products. Let me tell you about these products. They are wonderful. They smell great. They're shampoos, conditioners, hair serums, and all kinds of products to make your hair more healthy. And they're for all ethnicities, men, women, boys, girls, and all ethnicities. So I also put her link in the chat, and it's mamaknowsproducts.com. Mama Knows Products. And why? Because Mama knows what you need. So check her out. And then there's the Trauma Talk conference that's coming up in June. I also put that link in the chat, and you can check out more information about that. If you have a story of your own trauma, then please check it out so that you can help other people realize that they're not alone. We've all been through something, and this conference is there to help us help other people recognize, again, you're not alone, and there are things that you can do to get past your trauma. Your trauma does not have to determine your destiny. All right, now back to what we were talking about. I wanted to get all those out of the way so that we could just continue on. So so is there some significant things that you want to share to make sure we cover? I know you had a list of things.
I have a list of things. What can I tell you?
So I'd like for you to kind of share. I'm going to give you the floor.
Okay. The one thing that I'd like to encourage people with here is try not to speak for other people. What I mean by that is too many of us, and I'm using us, so now I'm speaking for everybody else, being a total hypocrite, bad me. But too many people I come across use the word you need to, you have to, you must. Actually, that's not a word. That's more of a phrase. But they use those phrases. We need to, we have to, we must. They don't know me. They don't know you. Why are they telling you what to do? Why are you telling them what to do? I encourage us to remember we are truly in our own universes. And I don't know what drives you. I don't know what makes you you. I have no business telling you how you need to act or behave. What I'll tell you is a little story about Tony Robbins. So once upon a time, there was a very tall, very large man named Tony Robbins, who happened to be a very popular guy that people spend thousands and thousands and thousands of dollars just to hear him speak and watch him speak. For the sake of this story, we're going to consider his suit, his business suit that he's wearing on stage, as his product. So it's his course. All right. I meet Tony in this story, and I say, Tony, you're wonderful. Can I buy your suit, please? Because remember, the suit is his course. So he says, sure, Morry, give me a second. He goes into the back room. He gets changed, and he comes out with a hanger with his pants, his shoes, his socks. He can keep his underwear, his shirt, his jacket, and everything. So I give him a check for $5,000, and he gives me the suit. Now I go home and I try on the suit. I'm going to look like a 6-year-old trying on daddy's clothes. They're just not going to fit me. Why aren't they going to fit me? Because I'm not my dad. That's why they're not going to fit me. Why won't Tony's suit fit me? Well, same reason. Because I'm not Tony. So if I'm inspired by what Tony is doing, and here comes the moral of the story. If I'm inspired by what Tony is doing, and instead of just taking what he tells me or taking what he gives me, in this case, his suit, and trying to wear it, If instead I go to a tailor and I say, hey, I just bought this suit. Can you measure me and tailor this suit to fit me? The tailor would go, sure. So I'll put on the suit. The tailor will break out the little chalk and do his or her thing. I'll come back in a week or two and pick up my suit, which is now tailored to fit me. I try it on. Lo and behold, I don't look like a 6-year-old trying on daddy's suit anymore. Now I look like an adult until I open my mouth, and then you see I'm not really an adult. But that's another story for another time. So the moral of the story is this. I am speaking with you, and I have this deep authoritative news voice. So a lot of people tend to believe what I say, and I think that's a mistake. A lot of people listen to Tony Robbins and Oprah Winfrey and Wayne Dyer and Deepak Chopra and a whole bunch of other people, and I think that's a mistake. And I'll explain why. If I resonate with what these people are saying, I believe that it's incumbent upon me to reinterpret it, reimagine it, tailor it to fit me. If I still resonate with it at that point, then I can act on it. And then I have a much better chance of success. I believe this secret weapon, this secret sauce is what's missing from all of the brilliant minds out there. They've neglected one thing. And that thing is that I cannot write a blueprint to live the perfect life for anyone but myself. And that includes the experts. Just because they're rich, just because they're phenomenally successful, doesn't mean what they did is going to work for you. You are not them. If we look at and I shouldn't use we, but if I look at the people around me who have taken courses and self-help and it doesn't work, but they keep going back, they keep going back, they keep going back, it's because they're forgetting that little secret sauce that they have to tailor it to fit themselves. And then if they still resonate, then they can work on it and go ahead and do it. That's, I believe, is why self-help doesn't work, why advice doesn't work, because I can only speak for myself, from my own perspective. I got a little lucky break. You got a little lucky break. Tony got a little lucky break. Too many factors are involved from a scientific and from a realistic perspective to expect that if I did what you do, I'm going to get the same results. So I just encourage you to use this little story to help you to understand from now on, interpret, reimagine, reinvent, tailor things to fit you, and then see how you do when you act on them.
But you know what? Some people don't know how to do that. And so
Intuition. Look, we're all born with the ultimate sensor array. Everything in our lives that is human-made. I'm so proud of myself for not saying man-made. Everything that is created by humans is based on us. Everything. Computers, phones, clothes, cars, TVs, radios, blankets, lights, everything is based on us. So trust the sensor array that nature gave you. You have a head, you have a heart, you have a gut. All three of these things have neurons in them, brain cells. There's a reason why we have the phrase, trust your gut. There's a reason why, oh, my heart's not into it. There's a reason why, something's bothering me. In my view, if any one of these is nagging on you, you need to take 3 steps back and 3 breaths and wait until you come up with a way to do it that all 3 of those agree with you. Trust in yourself. Don't buy the drama that everyone is trying to tell you so that you'll buy their big expensive products. And then they'll blame you for not doing it well enough or not having enough faith in yourself or whatever for it not working. The reason why you feel uncomfortable, the reason why you're reaching out for help is because you know there is help. That's why you're reaching out. We are not designed to fail. We are not designed to feel bad. We are designed to feel good all the time. Don't listen to all these people who tell you, you can't feel good all the time. These are people telling you, don't be around me because I'm a bad influence.
And you know what? And we have ran out of time. Can you believe it? But I love that. I love that. I love what you just said about, we can be happy. We can be positive. We can be loving. We can be joyful. We can choose to be those things regardless of what we may be going through.
Exactly. And we're supposed to. We're supposed to. That's why happy feels good. because we're supposed to feel that way.
Yeah, and now this is coming from a man who suffered with depression.
Oh, sorry, you're talking about me. Oh, wow. Okay.
So if he could, flip the script and make these changes in his life, you can too. And so I just want to say to my listening audience, just know that things do not have to be the way that they are. And just know that we can change those waves in our brains by using Morry's method. So contact him. His information is here and it's also in the comments. And I want to say to you, please subscribe to the Vera Thomas Show on Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube, and support me. You can support me by going to Cash App, $ and Still Great, or Venmo at VT1117. It takes money to run these shows, and so I really would appreciate your support, your subscriptions, and just being there for me as I'm trying to be there for you. So listen, God bless you, Morry. Thank you so much for being on my show.
Absolute
And
pleasure.
I know you have another engagement that you're supposed to go to right after this. So I won't ask you to hang around for just a minute because I know you got to go. But we'll talk again really soon. And thank you so much again for being here. Thank you for those of you that listen, and please catch the replay. And this will be on 21 different podcast platforms tonight. So God bless you, and we will see you next week. And have a great weekend, everybody.
The Vera Thomas Show.